10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Go up there. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team pick.
Timber saw.
Dire team pick.
All right, starting in about 15 or 20.
Okay.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Bum 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 bum. Wub wub wub. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Global Grandmasters. We're here in the playoffs. We've got another lower bracket best of 3. This was rescheduled, supposed to have been played yesterday, and here we are on this fine July 7th afternoon. Finem versus FlipSid Tactics. This is elimination. This is opening round lower bracket. Winner of this lives to fight another day, and the loser is going home early. I'm Sayori, joined again by Purge from Moonduck TV. Purge, how you doing, my man, coming into this series?
Much better now seeing a Shadow Demon. Hell yes, dude. Shadow Demon, Terrorblade, pretty standard 1-2 combo for a lot of teams, and basically the only time that I see Shadow Demon get picked. But Finem has a great opposition to that. Timbersaw is quite good against Terrorblade just because he can kill the illusions.
Yep. Good deal on both sides of the equation. Shadow Demon, good with the Terrorblade because it gives you that reset tool if he gets jumped on. You can usually keep him alive with the disruption. Then you've got all that other stuff, the Shadow Poison, the Soul Catcher to amp up damage. A really good hero to have against the Timbersaw, who's notoriously tanky against those right clicks. So we'll see. Does Finem go for the TSET combo to counter the TB? Elder Titan still in the pool. The classic counter to the Terrorblade. They've got to be thinking about it.
Yeah, they've got to be. It's a little hard to deal with illusion split pushing if they do that, since it's a little bit weaker on single target damage. But I mean, you can't pass up minus 35 armor once Elder Titan hits level 10. Like, it's so good against Terrorblade, and just as a whole, Elder Titan's really strong right now. So great pick there.
Yeah, and looking at odds here, Finem, big favorites coming into this one. Dota 2 Lounge says 20% FlipSid, 80% Finem. And right now our live odds from FanoBet that will fluctuate as this game goes on. Similar favor, but I think not quite as extreme. It's a 1.35 payout for Finem, so not quite as lopsided, but we'll see if the fans are right. We haven't seen as much from FlipSid, but I feel like every time I see this team, I look at that lineup and say, well, we should be able to expect a lot because they have individually very skilled players that have a pretty long history.
Be a great game though. I mean, I just like seeing the meta get developed. Terrorblade, Shadow Demon, Elder Titan, Timbersaw. I actually like all of these heroes quite a bit. I feel very spoiled lately. All the heroes that I really like. I was hyping up Elder Titan when the patch hit. I was like, dude, he is getting like so buff that like you can't ignore him anymore. Like his aura is so amazing. Stomp is so good for disable. His ultimate is really strong too if you have the right things to combo with. And that's definitely one thing that Finem's missing right now, is that they need Chronosphere or some stun setup. That way they can possibly make the ult a little bit easier to use.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you see the Elder Titan Void combo a lot, and it might be something that FlipSid want to ban out here. Timbersaw could definitely be the mid laner for Finem. It's a little bit of a flex pick. Always a bit risky putting him in the off lane. Not a hero that can easily just pick up an Iron Talon and go right into the jungle, but he is pretty beefy. So if you don't have a great support cast to zone him out, he can definitely spend a lot of time in the lane. They will opt to ban out a couple of carries, 2 classic Madara heroes, the Ember Spirit as well as the Juggernaut. So that does leave a couple things open here for Finem.
Yeah, they basically just want to make sure they don't have to play against a hard carry that's difficult to kill. Shadow Demon has a bit of weak lockdown against a lot of heroes, Terrorblade as well, and for Finem it's kind of the same case actually. Those would have been heroes that they would have had a lot of trouble killing also, so yeah, kind of interesting to see all the same heroes getting banned for both sides kind of.
Yeah, Finem actually ban out the Void themselves. That's a little bit surprising. They didn't have the first third pick, so if FlipSid wanted it, it's something they could have grabbed. And the Dazzle, same reason why the Shadow Demon's good with Terrorblade, or at least some similar logic there. You've got a Grave, can reset things a little bit, keep them alive to get off that Sunder and maybe turn the fight around. So
yeah, if you let Sunder go off, it just changes so much. It's like a cheese, and it lowers your opponent down to 10%.
Yeah.
Gotta be able to kill Terrorblade when he gets low, and that's the most important thing for Finem.
Yep. So FlipSid going to think about this a little bit. Ways they could take this draft. There's always that timing push with the Terrorblade, and they could grab some other heroes that kind of come online at a similar notion, you know, like a mech carrier or something, or they could just go for a well-rounded lineup. Only time will tell. A lot of options.
Yeah, maybe something like Darkseer could work just to give them pretty good laning setup, but I feel like Finem can abuse that a little bit. If they would want to, they could put something like Timbersaw safe lane. It's not super good against Darkseer, but it's an option just because it does have a really good regen solution against all the harass. But lots of ways to go. FlipSid's going to go for a Tidehunter though. I actually like Tide a lot in combination with Terrorblade, because a lot of the problem with Terrorblade is that for him to basically do the full transformation, make illusions, and start doing damage, he requires his opponents to be a bit locked down. So even if it's one hero that lockdown with like a roar or something like that, it's often not enough. If, for example, he runs in, Tide does a blink ravage, that Terrorblade will hold 2 to 3 seconds, that he can do his combo setup and start damaging. Because once people start running away, Terrorblade's damage gets a lot weaker. He needs to be able to stand still with all of his illusions, just rip into somebody, and Tide really facilitates that well, while also helping keep him alive from burst damage that could just kill him at the start of the fight. So those two heroes together, they're really useful in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it here. And the Shadow Demon provides some catch to kind of set up, so you've got follow-up Gush. There's just a lot of natural synergy across these heroes, aside from just the obvious Ravage. And yeah, this draft's still wide open for FlipSid. They'll need another support and their safe lane core. See what Finem wants to grab here. It's still pretty open for them. I think most likely Thug plays Timbersaw, right? I'm pretty sure he's going to be headed mid with that.
It's more likely. I think most teams have been playing Timber mid rather than in these other lanes. Rubik, a pretty cool pick here for a few reasons. Tidehunter, obviously, you can steal Ravage. Stealing spells from Terrorblade is huge. If you can take Sunder from him, it's massive. Shadow Demon's abilities are mostly pretty good to steal. Also, Disruption can be game-changing. Soul Catcher is really powerful, and definitely one of Shadow Demon's more valued abilities right now, in my opinion. I'd also love to see some mass stacking come out of FlipSid. I've been seeing a couple of videos of this on Reddit lately. I saw a video of Shadow Demon stacking 5 camps in the Dire Jungle. He did require a level 4 disruption to do this, but you can minimum stack 3 camps so easily with SD on Dire side, with just 1 point in Shadow Poison. So I would like to see more teams prioritize doing that, since, I mean, 3 stacks as a support is just so efficient.
Yeah.
Accelerating your cores, you might as well do it.
5 stacks is just insane. Now, kind of a strange pick from FlipSid, Lina. Good synergy with the Shadow Demon. Obvious setup for Light Strike Array follow-up. That's a pretty good ganking duo. Even the nature of Soul Catcher as well. If you can get that on a specific hero, it makes Lina do an insane amount of damage in those single target scenarios where she already does a lot of damage, especially in the early game. Yeah. Most likely the mid laner for FlipSid, though I guess there's always a chance it could be a support Lina, though that doesn't seem so likely.
It's a possibility. I think it's more likely it's a core for 2 reasons. First of all, she has really high damage output, like you said, good with Soul Catcher. But I think they're trying to use it as a solution to Timbersaw. Right now, they don't have very good solutions. Soul Catcher is great. Terrorblade works very well in the early mid game, but once Timbersaw gets like 1 armor item at all and 4 levels of reactive, he stops dying to Terrorblade basically. So they need something to be able to combo with the Shadow Demon Disrupt and give them some good damage. So she fulfills the lockdown, she gives you nuke, and I imagine she's actually pretty good against Timbersaw in the mid lane because yes, she will be right clicking, but her nukes do a lot of damage. So as long as she keeps up, she's always going to have the threat of being able to AoE stun Timbersaw while getting a last hit, or Dragon Slave while getting a last hit while harassing. And because of that, Adfinim's going to swap it up a little bit. Looks like they're going to do potential Alk mid, maybe Alk safe lane. Maybe they'll wait to see how they lane it based on FlipSid's last pick. That will guarantee, is it Lina mid, is it a different hero? But they have so many good options right now. With Darkseer as well, they can kind of go anywhere they want this game.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, Alchemist versus Lina, that favors the Lina, right? Can't she kind of harass him out at least until level 6?
You would think so, but it gets equalized for the fact that he just drops Acid Spray and pushes the wave. Like, that's one of the values of Alk, is that Lina can't stand in the Acid Spray. It actually does too much damage to her over time. So you would think that she'd be able to out-harass him, but Alchemist is going to be just fine.
All right,
so Lina support.
Yeah, Lina support, Storm Spirit, the final pick for FlipSid. We're going to talk about that final pickup here after this quick break.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
All right, into game number 1 we go, directly into a pause. Unfortunately, Rubik's going to have to go kick his router before he comes back here, but Storm Spirit, final pick for FlipSid. Storm in kind of an interesting place right now. I guess you could say he's a playable hero, but a shell of his former self against an Alchemist. Can farm, right? He can drop down remnants. It's sort of a each side farms lane.
Yeah, and he kind of offsets the problem that I was talking about before. Storm has really high base armor, something most people don't realize about the hero. So he can actually deal with the Acid Spray a bit better, and once he obviously gets level 2, then he's going to be doing a nuke to Alchemist while also applying a slow. So he should trade pretty darn efficiently in a 1v1 there, as long as he keeps his bottle up. So I actually like Storm a lot in this game. It was quite a good pick. It's also coupled with the fact that at Finem, they don't have very good lockdown this game. I mean, I was talking about that at the start of the draft, but it kind of continued. Their lockdowns are basically Rubik Lift and an Alk Stun. This is a really good game for Storm, especially if FlipSid can use their 4 heroes that are very good early, Timbersaw, Tide, Lina, and Shadow Demon. If they use them to create a lot of space while Storm farms this up, and they can delay the game long enough, Storm's going to be really good at picking off Ad Finim's heroes like Rubik or Elder Titan late game once it gets an Orchid.
Yeah, one of the biggest problem Alchemist has is being able to stick on people. His damage is great once it gets in your face, but it's getting there. That's the hard part, and being able to get those right clicks in. They do have a Darkseer, so that is some kind of vacuum setup that sometimes you can get those clutch plays and multiple hero Alk stuns, but a lot of difficulty in terms of execution on that front. You look at FlipSid, and it's a little more straightforward what they want to do. You know, they've got Vortex, they've got Ravage, Disruption, LSA, all these ways they can initiate fights and then follow up with the illusions and the slows. I'm starting to like this FlipSid draft here, Purge. I think you might have convinced me that this Storm pick is on point. Now they just have to execute with it. That's the hard part. Yeah,
I mean, the fights are still going to be a little tough, and at some point, if Ad Finem gets too far away, then they could just get too many Glimmer Capes or Yules or Force Staffs that Storm has trouble dealing with them. But I think I like FlipSid's draft a little bit better here. I really like what Ad Finem did to start the game, though. They did use the smoke. They weren't necessarily using it to get kills, though. They just wanted to place 2 of the best wards in the game. This one in the mid lane is so close to the mid tower. If you didn't have a smoke, it would have been scouted. So I really liked that one. And then the other one in the top jungle, this just spots a lot of rotations, which is something they need to be aware of. They have Alchemid, and he's a bit vulnerable. They need to see whether or not Shadow Demon and Lina are roaming on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, bottom lane, we're going to see something a little bit different. Madara is going to be the one to take the Timbersaw. This is the normal position 1 carry player. You know, your Slark, your Juggernaut, your Ember Spirit. And the Timbersaw definitely fits his playstyle. He has a very wide hero pool, but one of those carries that really likes high mobility. So I could see him playing a mean Timbersaw here. And in the safe lane, he should get plenty of farm. He'll have Rubik to try and zone out the Tidehunter a little bit. Meanwhile, in the other lane, right now it's Spartan on the Elder Titan, who's up top with Skylark. It's a 2-on-3, trying to get aggressive with the Ion Shell, but out comes the LSA after disruption. Skylark tanking through it so far. Spartan doing a lot of damage to Metpum here. Is this just a straight first blood? He almost gets it. There's the Astral Spirit. That'll finish him off. Spartan gets the first blood. Nicely done by Finem. Oh boy, that was a close call.
That's a dirty bug. You can't even see that Elder Titan has an Iron Shell on him. I heard Darkseer cast and I was like, what an idiot. Why didn't he put it on Elder Titan? That was a kill. And then I saw the little tendrils coming out.
Why can't you see it?
It's a hero model bug, basically. It's like it's a Valve problem. Like
so it's like
the
that
size
specific item he's using messes it up?
I don't think it's about the item. I think it's about the hero model. Like, and the problem this has never been encountered is because nobody plays Elder Titan. Like one of the 10 least played heroes in the whole game. So basically, it's the hero model size. It's like, have you ever seen like a mod where they take like a small creep and they make it big, and then the Iron Shell gets huge? Like in Dota 1, the Skeleton King's Iron Shell was like gigantic or whatever, just because like his hero model got exponentially increased. So it's just like a Valve problem basically, and it happens for some heroes. Same with Tiny. I believe when he gets bigger, you can't see the Iron Shell very well.
Okay, well that's a good little trick. No, I saw right after Metpum died, there was a lot of light blue scribbling on the mini map, so he probably realized it later than he should have, that he was taking damage from the Ion Shell. He does get stunned up, but a haste rune of all the runes to spawn. The staple gun's coming. He's got a lot of right click damage. Metpum does have a stun available. Might be able to connect. Shadow Demon's in. Can they turn this the other way now? Banscore getting nearby. The stun's actually off the mark. The Spirit flies through, hits him. He's still hasted up. And this is likely to be a kill, I think. Oh, Metpum, he sidesteps it. That's going to be another one.
Yeah, that's just really unlucky in a way. Like, Elder Titan has really good damage when he uses the Spirit, so there's no way that Lina was going to live there unless she had a TP.
Yeah, of all the runes, a double damage rune, invisibility, anything else, I think you get away and Lina can slowly juke her way back. But a haste, not so easy. Elder Titan will take that ticket back to the well, and you know, Slacks has a lot of crazy ideas, Purge, and he has that idea about every time a neutral kills a hero, it should level up or get a little stronger or something. We've been seeing so much neutral suiciding, at least I have over the past couple days. I'm kind of starting to like that idea a little bit.
Oh, you should, man. It's so efficient. Like, as long as you buy out, you actually lose nothing. I mean, even if there's an enemy hero in the area, they don't get experience. So the only way it's bad is if you have unreliable gold that you're sitting on. So in the early game, it's just so much better than burning through 3 tangos and a clarity. And the other cool thing that it does is it lets you set up a gank somewhere. So I mean, Elder Titan's walked back top, so nothing weird there. But what if he decided to like TP bottom and set up a kill, or TP mid and set up a kill? There's a lot of good things you can do with it.
Yeah, we see that sometimes even after an unexpected gank, like an early first blood. Whoever dies can TP to another lane and catch the enemies off guard. Sort of a similar principle there in terms of unpredictability coming out of the well. Mid lane, fairly even. Thug behind by about 5 CS, but both of them farming
check net worth though.
Well. Oh, is there a big difference there? Oh yeah, Alex #1. There you go.
Alchemist.
Yay, bounty runes and Grievel's Greed.
He's going to get a lot from every last hit, basically. And he went the most efficient build, Soul Ring, so he'll accelerate most likely into Armlet plus other things. Elder Titan wanted to stop the rune grab, but with Shadow Demon being here, there's no way he could.
There's a bounty rune down bottom. Looks like Thug's going to have a go for it.
Got it. That's good for him.
This is pretty big.
A lot, like 200 gold, something like that.
I think isn't it 300?
230, I think.
Yeah, there you go, 230.
232. Yeah, the multiplier changes, so 4 times, a little bit over 50.
Yeah, you're right. Good call. Good math there, Purge. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, these early bounty runes make such a difference for the Alchemist. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you've ever seen a game where the Alchemist gets, are we going to see a kill here on the Storm? He's only level 5, so he can't zip away. Spartan's going to come in. He's got pretty good damage, but it's not quite enough. You know, a lot of damage in return. The tower not going to be able to finish him off. But if you see an Alchemist game where he gets denied like the first 5 bounty runes, it actually slows him down a fair bit, where conversely, if he gets the first 2 or 3, it really allows him to snowball towards that armlet or whatever first item he wants to go for. And
they're set up for the Elk here. They're swapped. They might be able to. He's stacking. If he farms this, then he's fine. Oh, he messed up the pull too. All right, they're not going to kill him. Kind of a good. I don't know if he did this on purpose. That both supports are missing time to jungle, but it did line up with his timer. It might have been lucky here. Might have been planned. Either one. And that's going to be really bad for FlipSid. This is one of the biggest problems with the SD Lina combo is that you end up being a little bit more reliant on ganks because you assume, oh, it's going to be so likely we can get this gank. But if you miss your ganks, you get behind on levels, and it really impacts Lina especially.
Yeah, and even Darkseer is going to surge himself back. Not going to be an opportunity for Vanscore and Metpum to find one. Lina will at least hit level 3, but glancing at the overall net worth, add Finem. My god, it's a 2,500 net worth lead, 1,500 experience. Some of that is the Alchemist effect, of course, but looks like they're just getting more out of these lanes. Looking at raw CS, things are going slightly better for him. Especially the Timbersaw.
Farming amazingly. 52 last hits at 550. That's incredible. Yeah. And that's in the safe lane. Basically, off lane hasn't been there yet. Tide's just been AFK jungling here. He's doing fine, but he's not 50 CS fine. Yeah. And the off lane has been more contested for Terrorblade just because of all the early Darkseer problems that they've had to deal with.
Yep, and then natural effect of the Darkseer, constant pressure. He's going to find farm at least some of the time. Elder Titan, he's Ion shelled again. They're just going to chase down Sadoy. That is so annoying. The speed of Elder Titan is not something you often think about, but with this extra wind lice, he's really good with the Ion Shell. It's a big rotation, though, from FlipSid. 2-on-4, we will see some TPs coming. Vanscore gets off Disruption, but there's the Echo Stomp. They're going to have a Chakram flying through. That'll bring him down. Now Metpum in the tree line. He'll be killed. Tame My Wild does get a counter kill on the Darkseer as he zips across. Metamorphosis still online for Sadoy. He actually just used it, but Ad Finem don't seem scared at all. They're actually going to press forward. Echo Stomp, thinking about it. Does pump fake it, connects onto Sadoy, but Tame My Wild will be all right. Looks like that's where this fight will end with an advantage for Ad Finem, 2-1.
They at least get a kill out of it, though. It's nice for the Storm to rotate over. He's going to get his bottle refilled, so they actually could keep winning here, maybe, if they get a setup.
Madara's ready to go in. 2-hero Echo Stomp. Tame My Wild on the side, but he gets off the Sunder. Still a lot of return damage. Dara will be brought down, but Skylark gets a counter kill the other way. They lose their Elder Titan, but maybe he gets Sadoy here. The Hellbear Smasher's trying to help him out. There's the surge forward. Sadoy limited on options here, and the Ion Shell is going to be enough. Skylark with a double kill now ends up a fairly even exchange. The Darkseer being the big breadwinner at the end.
I mean, that's obviously worth it, though, because if Ad Finem has an advantage and you go even on cores and kills, then you're going to get a gold advantage. Really good for them. They'll get a bunch of levels from that, and that's maybe the most important thing. Lina hits 4 out of that, and Shadow Demon's still 3, so...
Echo Stomp mid after a telekinesis setup, but they won't have enough damage for a kill. Just the 2 supports. Rubik almost level 6, and Spartan lowest level in the Radiant squad, only 4, but hey, he's still besting the Shadow Demon, who is the lowest in the game right now, still at a humble 3 down bottom. As I'm looking at hero levels, Madara will find a solo kill on the Tide. All right, well, that's great news for Madara.
That's the one bad thing about a Tide in this lineup I didn't mention in the draft, is that he's really weak against Timber. Timber doesn't care if he can't be disabled because he just does tons of damage and he reduces strength temporarily. So he's a great, Tide Hunter counter.
Yep. And he can just kind of run circles around the Tide too. Tide is not really that mobile, especially before he has the Blink Dagger. So he is at least level 6 now. Only died once. Overall, Shotshell has still found a decent amount of farm. So if he can use this first Ravage to maybe set up some kills for the team, that would be huge. This gold graph is starting to get a little out of control. At this point, the Alchemist has gotten over the hurdle. He's now moved into the jungle. He's level 9. He's got his armlet, just working on that Radiance money. And Thug is really farming well. 6.4k net worth at 9 minutes, I think, is close to the dream for the Alchemist.
Yeah, right now it's basically just coming down to the fact that Ad Finem did way better in their laning. And that's what happens when you have Darkseer and combo him with all these other melee heroes that can be Ion Shell targets who are fast. So the Elder Titan Darkseer combo really got a lot of value in the early game.
Yep, definitely. Now a smoke from FlipSid. 3 heroes rotating through the mid. Lina still only 4. Shadow Demon still only 3. Limited burst damage here, but they've got the Storm Spirit with Soul Ring, Infused Raindrop, Power Treads. They're hungry for the Alch, and they might just find him. He turns on the armlet, has his ultimate on. Shadow Demon will disrupt him. That'll buy a little bit of time for his team to react. Maybe next time's already over. That's a stolen disruption. That buys them even more time. Now Madara is here. Oh no, it's going to be a turnaround the other way. They've already lost Metpum. Tame My Wild says, I'm out of here, boys, and Vanscore, he'll be left high and dry. He's got a TP, looking for the deny, but not going to happen. The Centaurs can't get there in time, and it's a 2-for-0 the other way. Beautifully done by Ad Finem. The Rubik, the big hero there with the stolen disruption.
Yeah, he was probably okay either way. They basically needed to instantly kill the Elk. They had to do Disruption into Lina stun into like a double Remnant combo kind of a thing, but they just, it's a hard gank to do. They maybe should have gone into the jungle a different way. A lot of teams do run up that cliff, but maybe it's better for them to run through that little one to the right instead in the future. They run into people farming there all the time.
Yep, up top, we'll see another fight break out here. Spartan in the front lines. Ion Shell on Skylark. Poor Metpun, he's so low on HP. There's only so much he can do. Decent Ravage from Vanscore, but do they have the follow-up? A Laguna Blade would work wonders right about now, but they just don't have it. Madara getting low on mana. Shadow Poison is starting to stack up. Everyone's still alive. Ad Finem will start to back out and reset things a little bit. Mostly just having mana issues right now. Not a bad first Ravage, but FlipSid definitely hoping for at least one kill there. Because this whole time, Alk is just farming. This is space created for Ad Finem.
Easily. They had to get that Elder Titan kill with the Ravage. He was just outside of the range by a bit. That's so tough.
And now they've got a lot of Arcane boots here. Rubik has a set, Madara has a set, and Skylark has a set. So they're able to sustain pretty well, and now they can just go back in. Madara has a soul booster. He's feeling pretty good. They might go for a kill onto Metpum here. And there we go. Timber Chain forward. Chakram. Dara gets almost a solo kill. The Ion Shell, I think I saw it on there for a second, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. It's another hero it's hard to see on.
Yeah.
But huge kills there. They're just very easily pressuring, and this dual support of Shadow Demon Lina is looking awful right now, and that's the case. If you don't get good levels, or you don't accelerate into some kills, they're just terrible supports. Lina's way too easy to pressure solo. You know, if that was any other hero, she just would have turned and stunned the Timber and at least bought some time. But Lina is so tough since you can just miss the stun. It's really hard.
Yeah, well, we have a lull in the action here. I want to take a look at that last fight, the smoke rotation that turned the other way. This was a lot of momentum has been going the way of Ad Finem, but this could have been a gank that maybe could have turned the tides a little bit. It's a setup onto the Alchemist. He has his armlet on. They missed the stun. The Rubik comes in. There's that stolen disruption we talked about. And with that, Thug's able to regen up quite a bit. His teammates get there, and once the Timbersaw joins the party, they just didn't have an answer for him. I mean, the Alk is the one that's passively farming and will be scary, but it feels like already the Timbersaw is something they don't really have a great response for. I mean, he's just jumping around like crazy, doing all the damage he wants.
Yeah, he basically is. The only good solution would have been getting their levels fast enough to have the burst damage to start killing him in those mid-game fights. But that basically required a fast Lina 6 or her doing a lot of nukes in the fight. And look at this, they're just pressuring so hard. She actually can't do anything this.
It's a brutal match for the Lina. 0-7-2, just one of those games where she fell behind kind of early, and now she's food. The free gank pretty much every time. 11-3, Alk. Radiance is up, baby. He's working on a big fatty ancient stack now, toggling that armlet. He's got to be pretty happy. Now Vanscore coming around the mid lane here. Disruption, TP home. He'll be just fine. All right.
I think Darkseer maybe could have interrupted that, but he had both Surge and Vacuum ready.
Yeah, I don't think they can kill Tame My Wild here, but they will throw out an Earth Splitter, and he just falls away. All right.
I don't know why they waited so long. They definitely had to do that earlier.
Yeah, ambitious.
Right away, basically. As soon as the Stomp lands, you have to cast that. He waited like 3 seconds. It's not a big deal. It's pretty low cooldown. It's not like he needs it up to be relevant for team fighting, so yeah, even if it helps.
Yeah, one of the big disparities here, well, it's actually bad across the board. It's nearly a 12k net worth lead. I was going to say the supports are really far ahead relative to each other, but you can make the same case for the cores. Alchemist on 11k, leading farmer for FlipSid is the Terrorblade right now, and he's at only 6k. He's doing all right. Brown Boots, Dragon Lance. I think Sadoy is making the best of the situation, but they still have to deal with this Alchemist at some point. I mean, Thug's going to come out of the jungle in another 5 minutes and just seem unkillable.
Yeah, and if he buys like Ags or something pretty quick and gives it to Timbersaw, like there's very little FlipSid can do. At that point, it comes down to whether or not they can get Timber low, sunder the Timber, and then blow him up with their nukes. Like that's the only solution that they have to killing that guy, and that's not a good way to take a team fight.
What is the interaction with Soul Catcher and Sunder? Does that buff up the damage at all, or is Sunder one of those spells that's just a straight up percentage swap? It's not altered by Orchid or anything?
Yep, it's not a damage nuke. That's the same reason Blade Mail doesn't work with it. It just doesn't work like that.
Okay, I thought so. There we go. Well, the more you know, right? It's one of those special spells, kind of like Brain Sap.
No print.
No,
Brain Sap is just pure damage. It doesn't do a set. It looks like a set amount because it's pure.
Oh, right.
It would just be way too good if you could Blade Mail it. It'd be a strong counter, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
You could buff it up with like Veil, and you would one-shot somebody. You know, there'd be a lot of stuff like that.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it would be kind of stupid. Like, I was thinking, I'm like, why hasn't anyone done Sunder Soul Catcher before? That sounds pretty broken. Okay, yeah, it all makes sense. Well, there you go, folks. The more you know. Now we're going to see some tower exchanging. FlipSid putting some pressure on the tier 1 up top, but they're going to come to this defense. Echo Stomp does put a few to sleep. Now the vacuum. No wall yet from the Darkseer. Alchemist will be able to kill the Tide Hunter down bottom as they pressure that tower. Looks like Vanscore will get left behind and killed by the Timbersaw. 2 kills across the map for Ad Finem. They will finish off the tier 1 down bottom, and they will defend their tier 1 up top. So pretty much the perfect setup there. 2 kills, 1 tower for them. No towers lost.
Yeah, I think FlipSid's pretty screwed from here on out, though. Like, Alk is extremely farmed. Like, this is maybe the most farmed Alchemist I've actually ever seen my whole life.
For this state, like, he's at 1k net worth per minute, just about.
It's 15 minutes, 30 seconds. Like, that is ridiculous for almost having a Manta style. He's pretty close. He's got the Yasha. And he doesn't even have that many kills. 1 kill, 2 assists. He's just been farming this whole time. He hasn't had to participate at all in this game.
And the kills that he's been involved in were sort of accidents. They tried to man up on him. He dropped acid spray and ran away, and his teammates did everything.
Yeah, basically. And well, it looks like Vanscore might die here.
Yeah, he's going to get stunned up, and he'll fall just as the bounty rune spawns. Another free bout of gold for the Alchemist.
Real close to 1,000 GPM. Can he hit it? I think so. I also don't like what Vanscore is doing with his skill build. He's basically going into desperation split push mode with the TB by maxing out disruption. I think he has to max Soul Catcher, honestly. Like, they have no damage. They're not going to kill any of these tanky kill heroes unless they have enough damage. I don't think the solution is making more illusions of TB, personally. I mean, yes, the TB illusions do a lot of damage, but I feel like his hero combos are mostly Lina, Storm, heroes that do a lot of nuke damage.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to amp that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Sadoy can't do anything against Madara here except just TP out. 13 Bloodstone charges. He's got a Hooded Defiance, a Pipe. It'll be coming out pretty soon here. Waiting for that extra little bit of gold. Does he actually have it? Oh, he's got it already. There you go. So Manta and Pipe are now completed. Oh, boy.
Yeah. That's actually crazy.
All right, here we go. Alchemist charging up the stun. Vanscore takes the brunt of it. Vacuum right into an Earth Splitter on top of an acid spray. That poor Shadow Demon. He never had a chance.
Yeah, I don't really see Ad Finem losing this game at all. It looks very, very over. I mean, FlipSid can't kill any of these cores. Alchemist is almost unkillable. Timbersaw is pretty surely unkillable this game. And now Lina's nuke feels like a tickle.
Yeah.
And she's still dying. Like, she just doesn't have a good solution. She's died 8 times this game. 0-8-2.
Yeah. Support Lina. I mean, this was why we were both sort of like, well, it's probably a core Lina. Tame My Wild mid actually gets initiated on, but he's got some mana to zip. Though not that much left. He makes it to the high ground, but just barely. Now he's locked in the trees. Oh, no. How unfortunate for Tame My Wild. He does commit suicide with the Bloodstone, but that still hurts.
That was his first death, actually. He's doing okay considering the state of his team.
Yeah, that's true.
They just don't have the kill potential. And maybe he should have gone something like Orchid instead, just so that they could maybe kill somebody, but you ended up going Bloodstone. They have to be able to kill somebody, and they don't have that. It's really just a Lina problem. Like, I don't know if it was necessarily just his gameplay mistakes, but there's a couple deaths, understandable, but after that, you're just so scared about landing your stun. And then if you don't land your stun...
Oh, wow. They pull him right into an Echo Stomp. This should be an easy setup. No, Madara actually misses it. He wakes up in time, but the stun chases him down. It's like ping pong with Storm Spirit. Okay, he'll live. Tier 2 dies, and yeah, this is sad to watch, honestly. I can't think of an appropriate analogy, but it's brutal.
Like, against Timbersaw, the way that Lina has to play is just so difficult. Timber Chain, she's not going to be able to stun that in time. It's not reliable. You don't necessarily know which tree is going to pick. So then she always constantly has to play very scared. She doesn't know when to stun. She doesn't feel comfortable moving. Like, even in some of those early fights, she just made a couple mistakes in terms of positioning that lost him that Elder Titan kill when the first Ravage came out.
Yeah.
But it's because it's a Lina. It's, like, so unreliable. If you can make it work, it's amazing, because you can transition into this core kind of role. Like, I've seen Fly do it at TI4 when he was on Complexity. He had a lot of really great games on Lina where he transitioned into like one of the more farmed heroes, but you have to hit that window, and you can't have heroes like Timbersaw that are just impossible for you to kill solo. Because then every time you see them, you just have to TP away or something.
Yeah, up top, Tame My Wild will get caught and just bursted down. Such an easy setup for Ad Finem at this point. Even with the Bloodstone, he's just not that tanky. Down to 5 charges now. Some of it is also the heroes that FlipSid are up against. Like, pretty much all of these heroes have some kind of an advantage over Lina in some way. Like, these highly mobile, you know, your Timbersaw, Alchemist, who will eventually get a Blink Dagger. Now he's just very fast, 500 movement speed. He can basically just run right into her face. It's hard for her to get away, you know? Like, even Darkseer, she's starting to get away, vacuum back, all of a sudden she's dead. There's just a lot of catch that makes her life difficult.
Yeah, and I think that Darkseer pick was a little bit eventual. It kind of tells a little bit, maybe this is a planned strat for FlipSid here. Remember they banned out Juggernaut in the second round? That's a hero that's really strong against Shadow Demon Lina, arguably the best carry counter to it. Lifestealer also counts, just because they can go magic immune after the combo. But it's like there's just too many solutions. I just think it's maybe a mistake to try to combo the SD with a hero like this. Just very, very difficult to make it work.
Yeah, can't argue with you there. Mech now up on the Tidehunter. One outer tower remains. Ed Finem move into the Roche Pit at the 21-minute mark. We're now up to a 25,000 net worth lead. No, I remember casting the old Star Ladders of those giant group stages, and when you have 16 teams in a round robin, there's going to be some disparity, so there were always a lot of stomps. I remember casting a lot of that stuff with Berlini, and our metric was always, if a team was ahead by more than 1K net worth per minute, then it's time for the other team to GG out. If you know Merlini, you know he's a little bit of a fussy one when it comes to teams not GGing out, and they are surpassing that by a good margin here. Like, this is super impressive farm from Ad Finem, and are they going to kill the Alp?
I'll make it Darkseer actually.
Oh, Darkseer's going to TP in, and
he's
nope,
so
he
tanky.
He turns it, wall back, he's still alive. Yule's up onto the Rubik, that'll take him out of the fight. They do end up getting the Darkseer here, but now the wraparound is coming. Timbersaw looking for the Shadow Demon. They'll bring down the Storm Spirit on the other side. Alchemist gets credit for that one. Vanscore has a TP. He's going to try to make it in the high ground, but maybe next time. Lives up to his name here, catches him with a telekinesis, and they do trade 1 for 2. Honestly, not bad for FlipSid. Given how far behind they are, killed the Darkseer. It took literally, not literally, they didn't Ravage, but it took pretty much everything they had to barely bring him down.
Oh, and Elk got Storm Spirit on the retreat as well, so. And they stole Disruption now, so they're going to get some really strong Elk illusions.
Tier 3 tower going to fall, and yeah, this is looking like the beginning of the end here, Purge.
This illusion's going to kill Lina, maybe.
On the glyph. Oh my god, Metpum. Can he kill it fast enough? It's going to be close. Nope, Rubik comes in and snipes him with a Fade Bolt.
Well, on the bright side, Shadow Demon has been able to purchase an Experience Tome. So they got that going for him.
Hey, BKB up on the Terrorblade. That's something.
Oh, duh, this is why Vanscore maxed out his Disruption, so he can use it against Alk illusions. That makes sense. Because then he can get his own Radiance. That's actually a really good choice then. I maybe would have liked a mix of Soul Catcher and Disruption, maybe 2 Soul Catcher, but I think this makes decent sense. I don't think it's going to matter though.
Nope, in the end here, it's not even going to matter. Ravage comes out, hits on most of Ad Finem. Madara getting kind of low, but he does just Timber Chain away. Laguna played, does nothing. And poor Metpum falls. FlipSid. A noble defense.
It's got 50 regen per second, like.
They just can't kill anything. This is just, he has to commit suicide again. The damage just tickles. Tamai Wild finally calls it 23-4. A brutal first game for FlipSid fans. Thug ending the game with 25k net worth. Well, we'll see what his GPM was in a second here. I mean, wow. Very impressive. I guess the odds didn't lie on this one.
They really didn't. I thought that was a little generous. I know Ad Finem was very, very close to TI. Pretty much a sub story for any fans of them, but there it is, 1,054 GPM. He did whatever he wanted this game. Basically, it was the dual offlane. The Darkseer the Darkseer Elder Titan dual offlane just punished the supports. Any ganks they tried against the mid never hit on